Yo, what do you do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, back with you with another new part of What If Izuku Was Pyra and Mythra's Driver. This is part 26. In the last part, everybody in Class 1A is getting ready for that of the summer camp, with everybody feeling excited and hyped for it to begin. However, with now Class 1A having that of a new teaching assistant being Hayes, things might get a little bit more chaotic and interesting for Class 1A's curriculum. Now that Aizawa is a driver, and Hayes is to basically, wrangle him in from being that of, overwhelmingly scary for no reason. With Class 1A meeting two members of the Wild Wild Pussycats, Pixie Bob and Mandalay, with then Pixie Bob basically throwing them over a cliff into that of the Beast Forest, which is the Pussycats' private land, where they had to fight their way through the forest to that of the training camp. However, a boy basically gets both Izuku and Jin's attention, as it being Mandalay's younger cousin, Kota, with him basically despising everyone in Class 1A, with Jin kind of threatening the young boy as well, due to his actions towards Izuku. Not only that, Aizawa begins the training camp for everyone, as now they're going to be improving and powering up their quirks. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? As Class 1B begins to walk through that of the forest to that of the training grounds on where they're going to be improving their quirks, as Vlad King begins to explain everything on what's going to be happening and how much that they need to improve to stand out, unlike that of Class 1A, with each and every one of them basically asking questions on how to, improve their quirks, especially since there are 20 students. As for Shinso, on the other hand, he begins to wonder on how much does they need to improve after all, especially somebody with his quirk, which is basically just brainwashing after all. How would they be able to improve his quirk in the way that he needs? With then, soon everybody arrives, as they then begin to see the literal torturing hellscape that is Class 1A's training, as everybody's training is basically the same as, that they would be in canon. However, with Kendo being part of Class 1A instead of being part of Class 1B, her training is basically to increase her on how much she can basically punch after all, and increasing her fist size and how durable they can become by doing that of two training sessions. First one is basically slamming them into that of the stone wall, and facing against that of Ijiro as well. Even see on how her reaction time is to extend her fist, or to at least control how big she wants them to be. However, another has actually changed as well, that being Izuku's training. Due to him not having one for all, he doesn't need that of strength training. However, with his blades though, normally no normal training session would actually help. Hell, the normal sparring that he does with each and every one of his blades by switching between that of Pyra and Mythra and Jin is kind of starting to become a little bit stale. That's why currently Izuku, Pyra, Mythra, and Jin are currently facing against Hayes, as the battle between them is quite interesting, with Hayes fending off both that of Izuku and Pyra as well, as she's using her staff to defend each and every one of the attacks while also keeping them off guard as well, as she goes after Izuku with that of a low sweep, with Izuku dodging the attack as he's about to swing down with Jin's sword. Before then, she uses her blade technique, basically suppressing their core and the ether flow around them as well, as Jin begins to feel the suppression onto his ether flow and his core, and also on his core as well, realizing, so this is Hayes' power. I remember feeling it back at UA at the pool, but this, with then soon as Pyra basically runs towards Hayes, about to strike her down with one solitary flame slash. However, Hayes sees this coming, would then stop the suppression from that of Jin before jabbing Pyra into the gut, knocking her back, sliding on her feet. With then soon, Hayes basically has that of another thrust, but from the top end of her blade weapon into Pyra's gut once again, not bringing her down to her knees. But then soon, Mythra speaking in Pyra's mind saying, "How is this even possible? Isn't she just a newly awakened blade? How is she this good?" With Pyra speaking to her sister, saying, "Most likely because Mr. Aizawa was the one that awakened her. Remember, even though Aizawa most likely didn't awaken her like this, and most likely she takes the appearance of her original driver, Hayes must have taken something from Aizawa, most likely his years and years of combat experience." With then Hayes actually smiling, saying, "Sorry about the gut check," but with then soon Izuku using that of his driver arc, with him screaming "Florida Slash" as he jumps up into the air before ice begins to coat around his katana, before bringing it down onto Hayes. Before soon she uses her staff once again, suppressing the connection between that of Izuku and Jin once more, as the ether around Jin begins to fade, saying, "Damn it, not again!" With soon, Hayes sees Izuku coming down, within deflecting his attack, with the ether basically suppressed around his sword, no longer there, as Izuku gasps. Before then, she raises up her leg and kicks Izuku onto the side mid-air, with knocking him down to the ground, rolling. Within, Izuku grunting in pain while also coughing at the exact same time, with her saying, "Sorry about all that, but it seems that you're doing quite well. However, it's going to be a while until you can basically get through that of my ether field. Remember, Midoriya, humans can still move around easily within my ether suppression field. It's only blades who are affected after all. Every time when you lose the link, you always feel shaken and unable to react. It's that one hesitation that always gets you." With then Izuku saying, "Right, got it." With using that of Jin's katana to stand back up, before then looking back at Hayes, within Hayes saying, as for the two of you, why not Pyra, Mythra, is it? Why don't you guys basically give Midoriya your sword and you support him with your ether link? And Jin, why don't you fight alongside him?" With then soon Jin basically getting back up, no longer feeling the weight coming down on him from that of Hayes' ether field, within Hayes saying, "Isn't it obvious? Izuku needs to get used to using my sword more often. He's had years to get used to that of Pyra and Mythra's sword, especially their fighting style as well. So I figure he needs to learn how to handle me. Did you forget? This is a training session after all, and things that he needs to improve on." With then soon Izuku saying, "Well, at least you get it pretty easily, Jin," while Izuku's still wincing in pain. With then Hayes saying, "I guess that makes sense." With then realizing, "You guys take at least a little bit of 5 minutes of resting, and then we'll get back into sparring. I need to go speak to Shota about your progress." Within, the Shrine Maiden blade begins to walk off. Within soon, Izuku slumping back on the ground thinking, I didn't think that this would be the training that we had to go through." With then soon, Pyra saying, "Well, Aizawa did say we would basically go through hell, and given that what everybody else is going through and began hearing that of Bakugo screaming in the background, unleashing another powerful explosion, within hearing the crackling ice and roaring flames of Shoto going back and forth, and also in the background trying to hear that of timid Koda using his Ana voice to call in some animals. However, Bakugo's screaming is basically drowning out his own voice. As for everybody else's training, is just as brutal, or not as tough, but probably annoying in their own regards. With then Jin basically still up, while then he's seeing his sword walking over to Izuku saying, well, can you blame them? Did you forget that they changed the entirety of the final exam because of what's been going on throughout your first semester? With then soon Izuku's eyes widening before raising back up, before saying, yeah, you're right. The League of Villains, the Hero Killer, all things in this year have been basically nothing but crazy. It's also bringing the fact that All Might is still weakened, since he gave his quirk to that of Togeda-senpai after all. So nowadays, we have to be the ones to step up. Sooner or later, All Might's going to retire. After just saying those words alone, Izuku begins to clench his fist in that of frustration. Within Pyra noticing this, places her hand on Izuku's tense hand. Within Izuku noticing this, with her giving that of a comforting smile saying, hey, it's okay. After all, remember, we're here for you. And not only that, you're here for them too. You're not the only one. Then Izuku couldn't help but smile before blushing, saying, right, yeah, thanks, appreciate it. Then soon, as he remembers the words that Jin said, that Izuku does have feelings for Pyra and Mythra. However, he doesn't want to ruin their perfect relationship as not just best friends, but as that of driver and blade as well. Then soon, Jin couldn't help but sigh, saying, why am I have to play the damn Cupid card? It's starting to get a little annoying. Soon, Hayes coming back saying, okay, rest it up a little bit. Let's get back into this. Within preparing her staff once again, Izuku seeing this, as Jin handed his sword back to Izuku, as he gets back into his own fighting stance as well, with preparing his sword, within also Pyra preparing as well. However, she soon switches into Mythra, within Mythra ready, saying, let's do this. After that, the day now goes on with everybody from Class 1A to Class 1B feeling exhausted. As soon, now with all the Wild Pussycats together, as they have been helping out everybody here at the summer camp, both Pixie Bob and also Ragdoll basically told everybody that they'll be making their own curry, as the Wildcats will no longer be cooking for them. So, first thing to start out easy being that of curry. After hearing that, everybody couldn't help but groan in that of exhaustion, pain, and not even that enthusiastic to basically make food right now. However, Ida, on the other hand, basically tries his best to, cheer up everybody and tries to get them to be excited. However, unfortunately, it didn't really help that much. Also, given that Abrona is also at the summer camp as well, basically seeing her driver try to cheer up everybody, she couldn't help but giggle, saying, Tenya never changes. At least he's trying to motivate everybody. Gotta give him props for that at least, as she continues to giggle. But then, just to get it over with, everybody prepares the curry. However, with Pyra being a pretty great and amazing chef, it goes off at least a little bit more easier. Hell, even though people were basically rushing and they didn't really care on how it tastes, thanks to Pyra, it tasted a lot more better and gave at least many people a lot more of their energy back as well. So you gotta give credit to the Fiery Blade, with Momo commenting saying, wow, Midoriya, I didn't think your sentient quirk could cook this well. With then Izuku saying, trust me, she's a lot more better, especially when it comes to, well, baking. With Pyra blushing saying, "Aw, stop. I'm just doing my best. I'm just doing what everyone else can do. That's all." As Kirishima, alongside that of Sero and Kaminari, couldn't help but speak up saying, "Hey, Pyra, right? If this is just your normal state of cooking, I would love to see you at your best." With then soon, Pyra saying, "Oh, really? Well, maybe next time I'll basically give it my all." With then, everybody couldn't help but giggle. Within Kendo speaking up saying, "So, anybody feel like they improve even from just one day?" With then soon everybody speaking up, thinking with Sero and, well, Kaminari feeling like they've basically just gone through hell and back given their training sessions. Tokiyami basically just says, "Revelry in the dark." With Sato saying, "Dude, what kind of training did you go through just to keep saying that?" Within, Mina speaking up saying, "My hands still burn and sting like hell." With Jiro speaking saying, "Hey, I was right beside you the whole time alongside that of Kendo. I know how the two of you basically went through it." But Kyoka basically continues saying, "But honestly, I'm pretty sure Sato and Momo must have went through pretty easily given their training." However, soon Kyoka basically, well, winces a little bit, seeing that Momo is scarfing down the curry that they made. Within soon, she's saying, "Geez, Momo, aren't you a little bit, well, full from everything you've done?" With Momo basically explaining that her quirk using that of her body fat after all. So the more she eats, the more she can create. With then, Sarah was about to make a comment before then Jin, out of nowhere, basically covers his mouth saying, "Don't do that unless you want to get punched in the face." As he was aware on what Sarah was about to say, with Sarah basically feeling terrified, seeing that of the stoic looking and somewhat scarily handsome Ice Blade after all. With then soon, Izuku couldn't help but giggle at the interactions between him and his class, before looking back at Class 1B and seeing their own interactions, as he's kind of surprised that Monoma hasn't said anything, but then found out that he's basically under brainwashing by that of Shinso, once again, to keep him in check while everybody's eating properly. With then, Izuku couldn't help but smile and basically mentally thanking Shinso for his actions, before noticing Kota in the background. With then, soon, seeing that they still have plenty of curry left, as Izuku was about to leave, within soon, Jin basically stops him saying, "If you're going to see the kid, I think it's best if I do it." With then Izuku saying, "Are you sure, Jin?" Saying, "Yeah, like I said, best if I be the one to do this." Given that, well, when we be training, I noticed him basically continue looking at you, and us. Within Izuku hearing this, saying, "He's been spying on us?" Saying, "Not just us, well, mainly us, but everyone else in class 1A and class 1B as well. I believe he's trying to understand heroes." With then, soon after hearing this, Izuku thinking, "All right, I trust you, Jin. Please do this." Within Jin smiling, before heading to take at least a plate of curry to Kota. With then Izuku having hope that his second blade can handle this. With then soon, as Kota heads to his secret hideout. Within soon, Jin saying, "Nice view up here. It's quite something. You could even see almost half of the entirety of the forest." Within, Kota basically freaking out saying, "How did you find this place? This is my secret hideout." Saying, "Figures. This is exactly where you would have a secret hideout." With then, Kota basically blushing with that of annoyance. Within saying, "We made some curry. If you would like, you can eat it if you feel like it." With then soon, Kota saying, "I'm not hungry. I don't need your stinking curry." With then soon, you can hear the growling in the kid's stomach. Within saying, you're a piss poor liar, boy. With then Sue saying, you're so weird. I hear that you're basically a quirk of that green-haired guy that I punched in the balls after all. With then soon Jin saying, yeah, that's my quirk user after all. I'm still not a fan of what you did, and I still don't like it. With then soon Kota begins to feel the shivers that he felt when Jin first threatened him. With them soon, they soon stop before saying, but it can't be helped. You know, a boy your age doesn't just get angry at everybody for just showing up for no reason. So, care to explain? Or should I do multiple guesses or trivia questions at that? With then soon, Kota just doesn't even say anything. Within Jin going saying, are we taking precious time with you and your cousin after all? Or auntie, I should say. With then soon Kota still not saying anything. Or is it that you don't like to be around strangers? That there are too many of us, so you take that of an aggressive role? With Kota still not saying anything. Before then saying, or rather, is it because you despise heroes for some reason? With then soon Kota actually speaking up saying, what does that have to do with anything? Saying, you spoke up. So that was the right question. But then Kota realizing that he was tricked, saying, hey, you tricked me, saying, no, you just answer your own question. With then saying, it's so stupid. You're all stupid. With then soon Jin basically raising an eyebrow. With Kota continuing saying, calling yourselves heroes and villains while you're playing around trying to show off while trying to kill each other. That's all you all do. There's no such thing as real heroes and villains after all. It's all you all, fame and glory is what you all care about, and basically being remembered. Within hearing this, soon Jin begins to try and put pieces together. Still don't have the full, grasp of everything. Before then saying, I'm guessing you don't like heroes because either you had a favorite hero that ended up dying, or rather, you had somebody close who was a hero who ended up dying. Am I guessing right? With then soon Kota couldn't help but actually gasp and shocked. With then soon Jin saying, I'm guessing I'm right on the money, but which one? The first one or the second one? Or should I probably say a third option being somebody in your family other than Mandalay, who was a hero, died? Possibly your parents, I'm guessing. With then soon Kota saying, how did you? With then soon Jin couldn't help but smirk before quietly saying to himself, saying, all those months of me hearing Izuku ramble on while theorizing and making that of, productions about other people's quirks have helped me with realizing other people's emotions and feelings. It's not that easy, but even so. With then soon saying, I'm guessing your parents were both pro heroes. I'm not too familiar with them, to be honest, but my quirk user may be familiar with them. Care to elaborate? With then soon Kota saying, I don't want to. Saying, I understand. If you don't want to, you don't want to. I won't force you on this. However, sometimes talking it out does make you feel a little bit better. It may not make the pain go away, but it at least make it a little bit more bearable. As Kota couldn't help but grit his teeth while clenching his tiny fist, saying, they're called water hose. That was my mommy and dad's hero name. They both shared it. They died trying to show off by taking down a villain after all. With then Suit saying, you really believe they showed off? Saying, it's the only option. They wouldn't have died if they didn't show off. They wouldn't have died if they just ran away or didn't get involved. That's why everybody just said they died heroes. They died protecting people all this time. They died doing what was right. What makes it say what's right about them dying? What's right of them leaving me alone? With then Kota began to cry, with Jin still having that of a stoic look on his face. Before then, Kota continued crying, saying, I hate heroes. I hate villains. I hate everything. With then soon, Jin saying, tell me, Kota, do you have a quirk? With then soon, Kota saying, what? Answer me. Do you have a quirk? Or rather, how old are you to have your quirk? With then Kota basically wiping the tears away from his eyes before saying, I'm 7 years old actually. And I do have a quirk. It's called hose. It allows me to produce water from my hands. And I can actually increase the capacity as long as I want. That's what I've heard from the doctors. With then soon Jin putting the piece together saying, water hose. I'm guessing your quirk was similar to that of both your parents. Or rather, a fusion of them both, I'm guessing. Within Jin taking a sigh saying, there was this kid I knew that my quirk user knew. He was quirkless actually. Still is to this day. With then Kota can help but be shocked and wondering what is he talking about. Within Jin saying, he always wanted a quirk. He always wanted a quirk so he can become a hero. He tried everything, as I heard. With Jin basically going through the memories that he's seen of Izuku as a kid, as he tried his best to use both his mother and father's quirk, but he didn't have it, which soon led to him being bullied and looked down upon by everybody because he didn't have one. But then Jin continued saying, until one day he began to fight. He began to stand on his own 2 feet to continue fighting back, wanting to be a hero no matter what, even when society continued to kick him down. All I'm telling you is, don't let the words of others just basically change your opinion on how you see the world. Continue to let the words of those whose words do not truly matter basically dictate your own actions. Because if you do, then you're basically just going to turn into something that your parents wouldn't want you to be. Remember, that's all the advice I'm giving you. Eat if you like, eat if you don't. That's all I'm going to say to you, young man. After Jin said his piece, he soon walks off back to Izuku, where he ether shifts. Within, Kota looking down saying, what's with him? What's with all of you? So, what am I supposed to think now? With then Kota feeling somewhat turmoil with the words that Jin said, and with everything that he believed himself as what he believes how the world works. Back the very next day, let's just say training is back on what it used to be, with now everybody getting into the swing of things, even though they're still basically being pushed past their limits, trying to improve their quirks after all. This time, Izuku is using that of Mythra's sword, trying to get the upper hand onto that of Haze, with using multiple of his drive arts and giving the sword back to Mythra as she uses her blade arts to keep Haze on her toes. However, even with that of their teamwork and combos, Haze still using that of her blade abilities to suppress that of the ether around that of Mythra. However, hearing that of Haze's advice from yesterday, Izuku still continues to push on that of the attack with the help of that of Jin as well. Even with the link between that of Mythra and Pyra is being suppressed, Jin soon switches over to Izuku, with the two trying their best to knock Haze back, within Haze jumping up into the air backwards, landing back on her feet, still ready for more. Within soon, as as she's no longer concentrated on Mythra. The link between that of Izuku and Mythra now connected, with the link between that of Jin and Izuku severed. With Hayes couldn't help but smile, seeing that Izuku, Pyra, Mythra, and Jin have improved quite a bit, thinking that Shota was right about these three, or rather these four, after all. With then, soon, as they take another break, Shota soon comes over to see on how the training is going, with then Hayes saying they've gone pretty well. Unlike yesterday, which they were struggling quite a bit to overcome the fact that I'm able to suppress their ether flow, now they're actually starting to learn a little bit. Especially Izuku. He's quite something. Within Shota saying Midoriya is one, maybe a problem child, but he is one of the most capable ones. I will say that. With then soon Izuku speaking, saying, "Oh, right, Mr. Aizawa. I was wondering, since yesterday, will there be any other teachers besides you and Vlad King here?" With then Aizawa saying, "Unfortunately, no, Midoriya," which is basically a good thing. Just like before, the principal and all the faculty of UA want to keep this place a secret. It's the very reason on why we didn't tell you on where the summer camp was going to be until we finally arrived. That's why. And if you're wondering if All Might's going to be here, then no. Currently, right now, the third years are working on their hero work studies. So right now, he's trying to figure out that of a lesson plan. Starting this semester, All Might won't be taking part in many of classes with Class 1A and Class 1B. With then hearing that, Izuku couldn't help but look down, saying, "Oh, I see." With then, soon, Hayes couldn't help but hit Shota upside the head with her staff. Within saying, "Ow." Within Hayes couldn't help but smile, saying, "I think you're being a little bit blunt there. Didn't you tell me that All Might's supposed to be the number one hero, symbol of peace? So you should realize that." With then soon, Shota couldn't help but sigh, saying, Right. Look, Midoriya, I understand that you are down about this, but this is for yours and all your classmates' safety. The less that people know about the summer camp, the better, and the more you can focus on improving yourselves as well, especially given that you're a driver after all." With then Izuku saying, "Right. Still can't believe that you're also a driver, Mr. Aizawa." With "I didn't expect it," saying, "Well, you and me both. Also, given that Hayes is now my blade, I get at least that of a pay raise after all. So I'm not too complaining, even though I do have to share my homeroom class now." With then Hayes basically still smiling, saying, "I know we haven't gotten along that well since you awoken me that a couple weeks ago, Shota, but I will try my best to live up to your expectations, as not just your teaching assistant, but also as your blade." With then soon, Aizawa couldn't help but sigh, saying, "Just don't go overboard and remember my personal boundaries." Saying, "I can't promise you too much." With then soon, Aizawa soon walks away, as then Hayes saying, "Now, shall we get back to sparring, you four?" Within, all three of them saying, "Yes." During this time, while Izuku and Mythra, Pyra, and Jin were sparring, the rest of everyone, Izuku was soon caught up to guard about what they're going to be doing tonight, being that of a test of courage challenge between that of Class 1A and Class 1B, which those like that of Mina, Kaminari, Sato, and Sero couldn't help but get excited, even those like that of Kirishima, with even Izuku couldn't help but feel a little bit excited too, alongside that of Pyra, with then Jin coming over to Pyra saying, "Test of courage should be fun, especially since you guys can't be separated from each other, means a perfect opportunity for from close up and close action between the two of you. With then Pyra can help but blush, saying, "Jin, that's you." A chance for the two of you to finally confess your feelings for one another. With then soon, Pyra couldn't help but actually calm the blush down a little bit, still blushing, saying, "Oh, right, that." With then soon, Jin saying, "Still feeling a little nervous?" With then Pyra saying, "Can you blame us?" With then Pyra switching to Mythra, saying, "After everything that we've gone through, sure, this might be the perfect opportunity, but we're still, well, hesitant on doing so." With then soon, Jin saying, "Then don't rush it. Just focus on continually being you. Just wait until the perfect opportunity to say it all. Get it off all on your chest. And I know what you're thinking. It's impossible to know when that opportunity comes. But when it does, you'll know. Trust me." Within soon, Jin walking off, as this time, instead of Pyra decides to cooking, as Jin will also be helping out cooking as well. While cooking, Izuku asked Jin on what happened yesterday night. Within, Jin began explaining about his talk with Kota, and began explaining about his parents being pro-heroes by the name of Water Hose. Within, Izuku remembering the scandal between that, about a couple that shared the hero name Water Hose. One had the ability to create water, while the other had the ability to manipulate it, making them an amazing duo. But they ended up dying at the hands of a villain that basically went on that of a killing rampage. They died protecting many civilians, but to hear that Kota is actually their child, I didn't. Then Jin saying, "Of course you wouldn't know. What kind of civilian wouldn't know about a pro-hero's private life? It's supposed to be private for a reason. Except for the heroes that actually choose to basically express their private life by also talking about their civilian name and about what they always plan on doing, which is pretty much disgusting and ridiculous." With then soon, Izuku looking down saying, "So what do you think I should do?" With then Jin can basically stop cutting before then saying, "Well, I already gave him my own opinion. I think it's about time you give him yours." After saying that, Jin began to explain that Kota has a secret hideout on the cliff sides around that of the forest. If you want to find him there, he'll be there, most likely tonight. But you'll probably skip out on that of the test of courage challenge. And you'll most likely not be able to get closer to Pyra and Mythra without this little challenge. With then soon, Izuku blushing as his entire face went red, saying, "Jin!" saying, "Just saying, that's all." After saying his piece, he soon continues preparing for the curry. With that, it's now time for tonight in the test of courage. As everybody in Class 1A and Class 1B is excited, however, those who still failed their test, well, let's just say they have to take remedial classes just like they did yesterday. That being Mina, Kirishima, Kaminari, Sato, and Sero. As the Pussycats begin to explain the rules of the challenge, with now they'll be basically spared up into the lots. However, as everybody has the same partners they would in canon, well, minus that of having that of Mineta, with Kendo being with Kota instead as a partner. However, Izuku is all alone. Well, not technically alone, as right beside him being that of Pyra in her casual clothes, just like everybody else in Class 1A. Within suit, Izuku saying, "Okay, I guess it's just the two of us. Or three of us, I should say. Or rather four." Within, Jin saying, "You two have fun. I'm heading back to the dorm rooms." Within, Izuku saying, "Jin, why?" As the two feeling quite nervous, as after now realizing that the two have feelings for one another, even though the two don't even think that the other have feelings for the other, it still feels kind of nervous. as everybody prepares to head into the challenge. However, as it continues going on, they begin to smell that of smoke. With then, in the distance, you could see that of blue lights. However, those lights are actually flames. And little did Class 1A and Class 1B knows that their little summer camp fun is going to turn into a summer hell. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. So, how did you guys like this? I wanted to focus more on the training between that of Izuku, Pyra, Mythra, and Jin with that of Haze. Haze is basically the perfect sparring partner with the four of them after all. With their ability to basically suppress that of, well, Blade's ether and basically, well, disconnect the connection between that of the driver and Blade, it's only perfect. Especially since she's basically subjugating the power of their ether inside of them. You know, I have to say, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 really did Haze dirty, to be honest, given on how overpowered this girl is. Especially in Torna the Golden Country. She should have been used way more in that DLC, but hey, can't complain about spilled milk after all. What's done is done. And you guys are probably wondering why Jin was the one that talked to Kota instead of Izuku being the one. Well, I think Jin is better with kids than Izuku is. I mean, sure, this is a Jin that has forgotten about Laura, of course, which I can tell is still pretty painful for some of you guys who enjoy this series, but even so, he's pretty good with giving out his own advice. Not only that, even though he's basically willing to kill for Izuku, he's still willing to also understand his driver as well, and the reason behind why he's the hero he is. Plus, he would also keep it real with Kota as well. He would sugarcoat it, but not to the point that he would basically baby him like how Izuku tried to do with him back in the canon after all. So yeah. At any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to keep up to date with my videos when I upload on the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my side channel, my Patreon, and Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later, guys, and I hope you all take care. Take it away, Shiro.
Hi, everyone. This is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!